All right, I'm ready.
The views expressed on this program are not those of intellectualradio.com, its subsidiaries, or sponsors. Encouraging, educating, and empowering you into action. This is Warriors Talk with your host, Lady Rochelle.
Hello. This is Lady Rochelle, author and founder of Warriors Talk, where we move away from awareness towards action. And co-hosting with me is the Biz. What's up, Biz?
What's going on, Lady Rochelle?
You ready to go?
Always ready to go.
Oh yeah, this is going to be a juicy topic today.
Oh, this is going to be interesting. I'm about to have a lot of women in Chicago mad at me.
Oh my goodness. I cannot wait. So we are live on Intellectual Radio. We just heard from Roman with the Drive at 5. We're asking that you keep it locked right here on Intellectual Radio and allow us to feed your brain. Our topic today is your independence sabotaging your chances at finding love? And we're going to find out. The show is being sponsored by Emmanuel Church of God in Christ with my pastor, Michael Richardson. And we are still practicing social distancing, so you can catch him every Sunday, actually at 10:15 on our Facebook page, Emmanuel Kojic. And again, our topic is your independence sabotaging your chances at finding love? So let's jump right into this subject because we always run out of time at the end when we have juicy topics. So let's go ahead and get started, Rizal. And I'm going to give Rizal credit for this topic because we were talking last week and he mentioned something about men not wanting to date women who were independent. So I'm like, okay, we could do something with that topic. So let's go ahead and dive into the topic, Rizal. First of all, I want to know, what is your definition of an independent woman? Like when you think of an independent woman, what comes to mind?
When I think of an independent woman, I think of a woman who's probably been doing a lot of things for herself on her own, paying the rent, paying the car note, paying the insurance, paying the utility bills, all of those different things. She's independent. She don't need anybody. She don't need no man. She don't need no help. And the list go on and on and on. So that's what I think when you say independent woman. That's what comes to mind for me.
Okay. Somebody who doesn't need any help. Trying to do everything by themselves.
Try to do everything by themselves. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So my definition would probably be different only because I'm a woman.
Of course.
Yeah. So I think an independent woman is someone who knows how to take care of business, like the things that she needs to do. But being independent is actually a skill. So it's not something that, she carries around all the time. She knows how to switch up the hats when it's time to be independent. And then when it's time to, release some of that control. So, all right. So I wanted to mention that men and women can actually sabotage their chances at finding love by being independent. So it's not just women being independent, but we mainly hear about women when it comes to being independent. We hear about women being strong, not wanting the help from anybody. They can do it all by themselves. And so they got their job, they got their car, they have their house, they got money in the bank. So it's like, what do I need a man for when I have all of these things, right? So, but we know that it can work on both spectrums. The way that men can be independent, in my opinion, and from what I research, is that they cannot ask their partner when they're making important decisions. They just go ahead and do it themselves. Like her opinion is not even considered. It's like, oh, I got this. And you come home with a brand new car and it's like, oh, we didn't discuss this. It's like, well, this is my money. I work for this money, so I got this car. So, it's like not even considering your partner's feelings. Or you can have a man that has all of his ducks in a row, but he has people doing it for him. So say he has a woman doing his taxes, a woman taking his clothes to the cleaners, a woman cooking. And so you're his woman, but you have no role to play because you already have somebody else doing all these things, making him look like he's independent.
All right. And it's funny that you would mention that because I had a conversation 2 nights ago where we was discussing something similar to what you were just saying. The thing what I discovered when talking to this other person is that men who are successful or they have money or they have a lot going on for them would take a woman who may not have much or who's broke or who's not as successful as he is versus a woman who's successful and got it going on won't all the time, I won't say all the time, take a man who's not successful or he's not where he needs to be in life. So I think that right there plays a part of, as being Miss Independent. Neo wrote a song about it. So, they kind of go and coincide with what we're talking about here tonight.
Okay, did you say that a woman who's independent would take a man who's less independent? Is that what you said?
Well, I said a woman who's very successful, who has it going on for herself, won't most of the time look at a man who has nothing going on for himself, versus a man who has it going on will look at a woman who may not have it going on for herself.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that.
Oh, next week's subject, ladies and gentlemen. We just got our topic of the week for next week.
Because we could think of a lot of women who date down, who don't date on their level. Because sometimes when you're up there and you're the boss and you have it all together, sometimes you cannot find a man that's on your level. So you tend to date down. And a lot of women do date down. You have, who can I think of right now? Nicki Minaj. She's dating down. Although he's her high school sweetheart, but he's nowhere near on her level when it comes to money and when it comes to the accomplishment. Look at Oprah and Stedman. He is no comparison to. He was was he a correction officer or a probation officer? One of those things. And here she is, her own talk show and everything. So I mean, most women, when they have it all together, they're not dating up. And that's why we're having a conversation today, because when most men feel like you're independent like that, it's two masculine people in the room. They don't want to be bothered.
Well, the problem with the whole thing is when you got a man who has a vision and then you got a woman who has a vision, both of them are trying to implement their vision into their home. And all it's doing is causing division between the two of y'all and in the house. And then that's when the ruckus and the chaos start to begin.
Because they're not acting interdependent. Each of them are acting like they're independent of each other instead of being interdependent, where they are working together. Okay, yeah, we both have our own visions, but then we have a vision for this relationship, for this marriage. What is it that we want? And then you work towards those visions. I mean, just because you're with somebody, it doesn't mean that. I think when most women think of being with them being not independent, it's like they're just giving up everything and they're following along with the man, whatever the man wants them to do, whatever their dreams are, you just push them to the side, which we know that's how it was back in the day. Women really didn't have a dream. They kind of like just stay home. Not that they wasn't doing anything at home, but they took care of the house while the man went and worked. And it was like, you didn't have a vision while you were at home because you were, well, I'm not going to say you didn't have a vision. The vision was you taking care of your home and your husband. But nowadays, women are out there right there with the men working. Some of them have the same position. Some of them are the boss. So it's like, you have a man and a lady who's your boss, and you're like, why would I want to date her? That's my boss. She's telling me what to do. For some men, it may be a challenge.
And that becomes the problem because a lot of women don't know how to play their role. They don't know which role to play. And in this day and age, it's kind of confusing on which role that they are in some cases. But I mean, that's what I see as one of the problems, because women have been discovered. They have been living without a man for so long that they don't know how to live with a man when it comes down to it, because they've been doing everything themselves. If you've been doing everything yourselves, and you just said it just a while, why would I need a man? You don't actually give a man a chance to be a man when you can do everything yourself. You don't open yourself up. You don't let him do what he needs to do because, here, let me take out the garbage. Oh, don't worry about it. I know how I could do it. Oh, let me wash the dishes. Oh, don't worry about it. I could do it. Everything you can do. Okay, well, fine. You go ahead with you know what to do self. That's how I look at it. Why am I here? You're right. You don't need me.
I think that's when you should be talking about the roles that each of you are going to play in the relationship. And if that man knows that you have been on your own for 10 years, then he shouldn't expect to come in and just start doing everything. Eventually that woman will let things go, but it's going to be over time. It's not going to be automatic. So when they first go into their relationship, they need to be talking about, okay, well, these are the things that I was handling. So, just let me know what it is that you want to do, so we're not stepping on each other's toes, but that comes with time. Because like it's not going to be an overnight process. If I've been living on my own for 10 years doing my own thing, that's trust. I have to be able to trust you in order to release some of those things. Now you want to take care of the finances, and I'm like, I don't even know if one plus one is two. So I'm not going to turn my checkbook over to you. Like, those things come with time and trust.
Well, if you're at that point where you two are in a relationship, you had to establish some type of trust from the beginning to even get to where you are. So, no, yes, no.
There's a lot of people out here together and don't trust each other.
Lord have mercy, this world.
Let's
Okay.
Let's just say we trust each other. I think it still levels to trust for the woman to be able to start releasing stuff, even the man, because, especially if a man's been a bachelor and now he has to share this space with this woman, I think it takes time for both parties to, develop some type of system to where, they're not disrespecting each other and the man is feel needed and the woman is not feeling like she has to do every single thing as though she was when she was by herself. I might as well be by myself. I'm still doing everything by myself. And I have this person here with me.
Well, that's the thing, because at that point, a woman still, or a man still wants to be in control because of lack of the trust just yet as it's building. But if you keep trying to be in control of everything, it's going to have your relationship or your marriage out of control. So at some point, you got to learn to trust and trust fast, especially if y'all living together or you just got married like 5 years down the line and y'all still at it because you don't want to give them the checkbook. Like, that's not a marriage. That's not a partnership. That's not you're not growing together. I don't even know what you would call that at that point.
So are you independent? If you're independent and you get into a relationship, because both people are independent when they get into the relationship and you're getting to know each other, at some point in time, we should be discussing, okay, we're moving forward. When we do, this is what's going to happen. And I think because people don't have those conversations, then they get into these unrealistic expectations of what this person is going to do. I'm just going to expect this person to put everything in my hands and trust that I'm going to do everything. And, sometimes you feel like it's the blind leading the blind. And it's not that you don't really trust this person, but it's just the level of trust that you have for that person.
I think when it comes to two people who are moving in with each other as they move and they're progressing with their lives together, it now becomes a thing of how they were raised. Because a father is going to teach his daughter how she should be treated, and he's going to show her how the house should be ran. So if he was the type of father who provided and he took care of the rent, he took care of the bills, and mama, she did the cooking, she did, these type of things, then that's what you're accustomed to because that's what you saw. Especially, thank God, if you was raised in a 2-family home. It's much different when you're raised in a 1-family home. So I think it comes down to your childhood, and what you saw as a child is going to kind of dictate how, when you grow up, to have your relationship or whatever. So if you've been raised by a single woman, you're going to have single woman tendencies because all you seen was just a woman doing her own thing. There wasn't any man. But if you were raised with both of your parents, mother and father, hopefully he was a good father, and those two, they got along, then you're going to be accustomed to say, okay, well, this is how it's supposed to be done. We're supposed to do this together.
I think even being a single mom, even if you don't have that male figure in the house, you put your children around some males that are doing positive things so that they can have that male presence in their life and they can pour into them and let them know that, these are the things that a man's supposed to do. These are the things that a woman should be doing, in order to make, the relationships work. You just got to trust somebody to be able to pour those things into your baby so that they won't have that imbalance when they get ready to get into a relationship. And I think that's why a lot of women are independent, because they feel like nobody got these things for me. I went out and I worked for these things. So, they hold it on tight to these things, and they're not willing to release them just so somebody could be like, oh yeah, you feel like somebody got control over you. And I believe it's a control issue too. It's somebody said it was I don't know if I want to say that though. It's the independent woman syndrome is what they call it. And I don't even know.
The independent, is it anything like the mad black woman syndrome?
There is no mad black woman syndrome.
Well, there's syndromes, but yeah.
It's just a black woman who's passionate about what she's doing. But anyway, we're talking about, if you're just tuning in, we are live on Intellectual Radio, and we are talking about, is your independence sabotaging your chances at finding love? And we're talking about the male and the female who are independent, and they're trying to be in a relationship, and they're bumping heads because they're so used to being independent. And we're talking about some things that you can do in a relationship, or maybe before you get to the relationship, so that you can be open and release some of that control. Trust somebody else to take care of your heart, and to, you not thinking that everybody you come in contact with is going to be trying to do you dirty, or, treat you bad or whatever. So just, women,
Well,
I think that's why women have those walls up, because they've been through so much. And it's like, you have to have those walls up no matter who you come in contact with. And eventually, as you meeting them and y'all get to know each other, the wall starts to come down little by little. But it's the process.
That becomes a problem, because you become very cautious. And when you have a cautious woman, she's very uncertain. She's very fearful. So you'll have a woman who's cautious about getting into any type of relationship or anything, but is she not only not letting you in, she's not letting anything out. So you're not going to love me right because you're fearful of that I may hurt you. And I can understand, because a lot of times we get into these relationships and the first thing we say is, I'm never going to hurt you. 2 years down the line, what happened? We're apologizing. I'm sorry. It'll never happen again. Whether it's the woman or the man, and they get hurt. So that flag goes up like really high. Like, you said you wouldn't do this, and this is why I didn't want to do it from the beginning, and so on and so on. And then it becomes a whole big thing.
That's because people, again, are making these unrealistic expectations when you meet somebody. You can't tell anybody that I'm not going to hurt you when you meet them, because you don't know what's going to happen. All you can tell them is, I'm going to try to treat you the best way that I know how. And if for some reason I fall, then we're going to talk about it, and we're going to regroup and do what we have to do. You can't promise anybody that. And I'm going to have to disagree with you about women. We come into relationships, and yeah, we have those walls. But those walls are there to protect us from toxic relationships, to protect us from games, to protect us from moving too fast with men. And it's not that we're not letting you in; we're letting you in, but it's a process to it, to letting you in. I'm not just gonna you say you want to buy a house, and I'm coming over there to give you the keys. No. You got to go through the process. We know how the process is for buying a house. It ain't easy, but once you get that house, you're going to be so happy, and you're going to be in there for a lifetime. You can sell it and make money, get your equity out of it. It's not going to be an easy process. Some women are just making sure that they're not going to be taken for games. And we know people play a lot of games when it comes to your heart.
And yes, they do. But I think we've seen enough Tyler Perry movies to know you could be with a person for so long and he treats you like absolute queen. And then y'all get married, you get hitched, and next thing you know, he beating you, he abusing you, and all these things, and you didn't notice none of those signs or those flags or anything, because now he got you. So then what? Do it make a difference if you know the person for X amount of time and you like, okay, I think he's okay. Oh man, what is this? Please, somebody find Joshua.
I think we ignore. I think we ignore that. We talked about that last week. We talked about deal breakers last week, which are sort of like red flags. We ignore the red flags because we're so busy. Sometimes we jump to sex really fast, so now our judgment is clouded. Sometimes we do need to take our time to get to know a person because eventually their representative is going to leave. The representative cannot stay for a long time. Eventually, they're going to show you exactly who they are, and when they do, you know how to maneuver with them. You know if I'm going to leave, miss me with all that, I'm gone. But I'm not saying put a time limit on it because for each person is different. But at least you should know what you're getting into and who you're dealing with.
And that is very true. You should always know the type of person that you're with, and that comes down to the trust. I know that this person isn't going to do that. I know this person isn't going to, because I know how he is. I took time to grow. I took time to learn his character. That's just not him. Overall, he's a nice guy. She's a nice woman. She have a kind heart. I know she didn't do X, Y, and Z, but independence sabotaging your chances at finding love. Absolutely. Absolutely. I do have to agree with our topic today that people do sabotage their chances at love because they want to be in control, because they're just so independent.
Okay. So what's wrong with being independent, doing your own thing? And then when you're in a relationship, again, independence is a skill that you learn and you just incorporate it into your life. When you get into a relationship, then you learn how to shed some of that stuff. But again, it's not going to be shedded when you first meet me. It's going to take time for that stuff to shed off of me. So being in a relationship, you're going to have to figure out, okay, this woman been by herself for 5 years. She's used to doing everything by herself. I just can't come in here and be like, woman, you gonna trust me. No, that stuff is gonna take some time. So being a man, you gotta know your woman and be like, okay, babe, you know what? I see you taking out this trash every day. I got the trash. You ain't even gotta worry about the trash. Instead of me just assuming, oh, well, he a man, he gonna take out the trash. I ain't touching that trash, and the trash just sitting there. You be like, well, you the man. I thought you was gonna take it out. Well, this what you've been doing, so why you waiting on me? No, let's establish these rules and these guidelines that we're gonna be going by, instead of me just assuming that because you the man that you're gonna be doing all these things, because that's not always the case.
Well, that's what happens when you get into a committed relationship and y'all, a lot of times you're right. There is no discussion on who's going to be doing what. Y'all are still doing your own thing independently. Y'all still got bank accounts separately or whatever, because there's still the trust factor. So honestly, is it just independence, or you just don't trust no one?
It could be a little bit of both. It could be a little bit of both. And I think only time, I think it's going to take time, and maybe y'all going through some things for both of them to release some of those things off of them in order to trust, be like, okay, babe, look, I know our bank accounts, we're going into two separate places. Let's get one bank account together. I know you still got that one. And I had this, let's just get one together where we put our checks in this one, and all of the bills are coming from here. You can put your man money in that one. I'll put it in here. We both know how much is going in every account. A little bit at a time, or just a little bit at a time, instead of me just handing you everything after I've been dealing with everything for a long time.
So you don't think after you say I do, that's when things needs to change, like immediately? So we're 5 minutes going into our marriage or whatever, and you still don't trust me. We're going to still keep things separate. You're still going to do your own thing. If that's the case, then we just might as well just stay dating each other.
That should have been discussed before we got married. That's what I said. That's why you got to have these hard conversations. Couples are not having these conversations. They get so caught up in the marriage. Like the woman gets so caught up in planning the wedding, and the man just like, yeah, I'm engaged, or, whatever. They not really having these conversations like, okay, babe, okay, are we going to have these separate bank accounts? Where are we going to live? Whose house are we going to live in? You have the bigger house. My house is smaller. Are we going to move over here? What are we going to do? Are you going to quit your job and stay home? Are you going to have kids? They're not having those conversations. They just...
No, but you know why? Because the minute you start talking like things like that, like a forever ending, oh, you're moving too fast. I'm not really sure I want to do that or whatever. I can't have you on my bank account. The minute you start talking about finances and unifying your relationship, that's when the eyebrow go up and things start to totally change. Like, hold on, but this is what you wanted. You got tired of being single. You complained there was no good men, and now as a man, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm coming to you. I'm talking about this. I'm talking about that, and you're like, then obviously this isn't what you want. Keep your beep 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 beep
Oh my God.
by yourself. And yes, and there you go. You sabotage the whole thing. So we had something good, and now you just turned into something bad.
You know what? I look at people that are getting married. So I look at my daughter just got married, her and her fiance. As
Hey, Malia.
as they were planning their wedding, they had to get, a joint account together so that they can pay for this wedding, and everything out of that joint account went for the wedding. So they have to trust each other. We putting this money in this account. If you're taking something out, you let me know what you're taking it out for, how much you're taking out. I know where it's going, and you just not over here buying lottery tickets. You done book a vacation for you and your side chick to go to Vegas.
Oh no.
I know where this money is going. And and again, that takes a level of trust. So they started theirs before they got married. They joined their accounts together before they got married, and they start working on money coming out of one pot. So something you have to do things decent and in order for stuff to work. You just don't get there and then be like, okay, this is how it's going to be, because there's going to be some resistance. Somebody is going to resist. They're not going to want to follow the protocol. So you got to be able to take things. It's like a pie. When you have a pie, you slice it up into little slices. You don't eat the whole pie at one time. You take slices and you eat it bite by bite. And that's exactly what you got to do for a relationship. You can't, if it's you doing everything and taking everything at one time, it's going to be overwhelming. So you got to do it in pieces. Let's knock this piece out of the way. Okay, we're gonna get joint bank accounts. All right, okay. All right, we want to get a new car. Who car is this name going in? Who's paying the note? Who's paying the insurance? We're getting the house. Who name is on the house? Is both our names gonna be on the house? Is somebody's name gonna be on the deed? Is somebody's name gonna be on the house? It's a lot. People get caught up in the wedding, but the marriage is that's for a lifetime. The wedding is one day. And the marriage is a lifetime. You have a lifetime to work on it. So you just got to be sure that this is the person that, I'm going to share the rest of my life with, and that they're going to be patient with me, because you're going to stumble. You're gonna disagree with stuff, but you need a person that's going to be patient with you, and you need a person that's going to, be able to say, okay, babe, it's all right. Let's just save that for later and do something different. You need a person that's going to do that for you.
It really do come down to a lot of trusting and trust issues with people when it comes to these marriages and relationships, because we both know, you've been married before, I've been married before. It's not easy. It's definitely not easy, but that's what the whole dating and the whole relationship thing is for. It's like, it's the build up to see if we get along with each other before we take that final step, before we take those vows, before we get in front of before we say our I do's. We need to know, like even now, I think people should live together beforehand, because you don't know a person until you live with them. Now you live with them and you got dirty drawers and all kind of stuff all over the place, and you pissed off because he don't pick nothing up, or you pissed off because she keep leaving hair all in your brush because she use it for her hair real quick, and this all different kind of things. So this way, you know what to expect. There won't be no expectations, because this person or y'all were already doing it beforehand. So now when you get before the pastor, it's a piece of cake. It's like, we already got this because we've been practicing. I've already been living that dream of being a wife. Not just a woman, but I've already been living that dream of being a wife. So I do these things. Now, some women, they could disagree, like, don't give a man wifely duties when you're just a girlfriend. But nowadays, in some of these cases, to avoid these relationships, you might have to do that. You just might have to do that now.
You might have to give them wifely duties while y'all dating.
I mean, if y'all two are in, look, if I just met you 2 weeks ago, I'm not going to be like, hey, can do this, do that, anything like that. But if y'all in it for like 2 years, yeah, I think so. We need to start looking at those, those like wifely duties and stuff, whatever they might be.
Being independent in a relationship can choke the life out of a relationship. It really can cause problems in a relationship and have you and your partner going toe to toe. So I want to talk about some things that women deal with when it comes to being independent. And one of them is that they need to learn how to turn it on and turn it off. Like when you're out and at work, and if you're the boss and whatever you're doing with the kids, you can be independent doing those things. But then when you come home, okay, you're not the boss at home with your husband. Like you're a wife at home, and both of y'all are partners. So don't come home with that same attitude. So you got to learn how to turn it on and turn it off when it comes to your relationship. And
That's right.
some
Y'all
people,
both can't wear the pants in the house.
and the second one is, we talked about this already. Women have trust issues. I have trust issues. So it's got to be something. I don't know if you guys got to go to counseling, or you got to go to some type of counselor where they have these trust issue games or scenarios that you can play so you can learn how to trust your partner. Because trust is going to come with time. It's not going to be an overnight thing. And then the next, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think it's more when you do the counseling thing. When it comes to counseling, I don't think it's for you to understand your partner. It's more so for you to understand yourself. So we pay all this money to these people to tell us to how to understand ourselves. And it's all deep rooted from childhood, what we saw and what we went through, because what we saw and what we went through is what we're seeing as, okay, this is how it's supposed to be done. I put up a quote a long time ago. We can't raise our boys to be men in the community if they don't see men in the community. So if you don't see these fathers in these homes or in their children's lives or whatever, then how is the next man or the next guy supposed to come up and do the same thing? There's supposed to be a cycle, and that cycle has been broken for a long time, and now we need to connect the links, connect the chains to get it back to having these young men. Like, I can't show a boy how to be, I can't tell him how to be a man. I can only show him how to be a man by what I do and by my actions. So we need more the fathers, we need more the mothers to be mothers and the fathers to be fathers out there, and stop with the bickering and arguing because you want to be independent and you want to be in control, because you're setting a model for your kids. You're a model from what you're modeled from. So we got to do better when it comes to these relationships.
And kids are like sponges. Trust me. They pick up everything that you do. When you think that they're not listening, they're listening. And you'll see them repeat something or reenact what you and daddy did. They, trust me, they're paying attention. On social media, we have Henry, and he says patience is what we need. We really need patience when it comes to these relationships. Randall J said good stuff. So we know this information that we're giving out, and it's not that me and Rizal are perfect and we're just kind of these coaches, but we have experience.
The best teacher.
And we're still learning. We're still learning, and anything that I learn and that we learn, and we're going to make sure that we teach it to you. We're not only about health when it comes to your physical health, but if your relationship is not a healthy relationship, then that plays a role on your physical health. So we want to make sure that you're getting the information so that you can make better choices when it comes to your relationships with the people that you love.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that we're here setting this platform to give this information from our experiences, because, and it's funny, I was talking about your experience today because I was telling people to tune in what you had to deal with when you was going through your situation with your battle. And I say, even though me and her battles are different, we're still on the same team, and we speak from different views and different points of these relationships. And this is why we can do it, because we've seen a lot, we've been through a lot, and we know a lot. And as long as we can keep sharing, we can give shortcuts to people before you get to that point of, what do I do? Oh, wait a minute, let me tune in to Warriors Talk, because they had that topic and they were saying some good stuff. Them two right there, power moves.
Yes, I mean, get the information or the education you need from all these different places so that you can live a healthier life or easier life. We don't have to go through all these things.
Mm-hmm.
The next one says independent women will not put up with crap. They feel like I'm doing all this stuff myself. I'm not putting up with that. So they tend to cut me off quickly because they don't want to put up with crap.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I think I've actually come across that before. They try to put in, well, look, what bill you going to pay? Whoa, 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 whoa. All I did was say hello. Like already you throwing what bill I'm going to pay, and then you want, uh, can I give you some money? Like, come on. Like I don't even want to date you now at this point. Sabotage.
Sabotage. Wow. If you are just tuning in on any type of social media, we're talking about, is your independence sabotaging your chances at finding love? And if you have any comments, go ahead and put them in the comments, and I'll read them out loud while we're on the show. And go ahead and share the show out, like the show, invite somebody in on the show so they can get this important information as well. So the next one says that independent women respect themselves and they won't put up with anybody else who won't respect them. And I think the same thing with crap, putting up with crap.
Yeah, that's like the same thing as putting up with crap.
Okay, so this one has to do with men, independent men who don't want to be bothered with certain women. It says men don't want to be bothered with women they can't wrap around their finger.
Mm. I don't know whoever said that one, but we need to put a big red X on that one. That one is like a gaunt, like that's not true. That's not true.
It's coming from a man.
Trust me, because one, I don't want to control you. I don't want to control you. I need us to be equally yoked together. I need a partner. I don't need a yes sir, daddy sir. I don't need that. I'm not trying to be your father. I'm not trying to be any of those things. So yeah, I have to disagree with that. I don't want no woman wrapped around my finger. Not at all.
All right. So men find it attractive when the women want them versus needing them.
And that could be a yes, that's a true statement. Because there's definitely a difference between the wants and the needs.
And I think in a relationship sometimes it flip-flops. Sometimes you may need them, sometimes you may want them. I think it flip-flops.
I can agree with that.
I get what I want. Once I get what I want, then I'm done with you. But it's something I need. Like, you want a drug. Once you get hooked, you need that drug to survive.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So this show is PG-13. I was almost about to go to the X-rated version, rated R. So yeah, let's move past that one.
Henry is commenting, but I don't know where he's commenting at. Oh, he's commenting in the party. Okay, Henry says, don't want nor need someone who feels less than who she is. Amen, Henry. Amen.
That's right.
And learning from watching my dad and my mom, I saw how they shared, how they talked things out, and how they voiced their own opinions. Above all, I saw how they loved each other. And that's so important for people to see. It's just so important.
It is.
Some people don't even kiss their partners around their children. They show no affection whatsoever. Like how are these kids gonna learn, how to be affectionate if they don't?
Yeah. How you gonna learn to love if there's no love in the household? You don't make me feel love. You don't hug me. You don't hold me. It's just cold. It's just chaotic there, and that's what the norm is now. Growing up, there ain't no love like how it used to be, like how our parents was. Growing up, it was totally different then. This whole new generation, this society, totally different.
This generation is on a whole new type of love. Okay, the next one says men love a woman who challenges them mentally.
That's a yes and that's a yes and a no. Because if you're challenging me, that means we're like debating all the time. Because again, you're going to think that you're right. I'm going to think that I'm right. And it's just going to be it's going to become annoying all the time if you're challenging me all the time. And it's not that what I say goes or anything like that, but if I'm head of household and you're following my vision, then yeah, we need to lean a little bit towards me. You may have an opinion about something, and we can talk about it, we can debate, and it's okay for us to agree not to agree. But I don't want no woman. I appreciate her having her own opinion, but I don't want it to turn into a heated argument later on down the line because you want to challenge me. Now, if you're right, you're right, and I just got to know when you're right.
Okay, I just wanted you to finish your thought, but I didn't mean challenge in that way. I mean challenge in a way that it keeps your
To
mind
push,
open. Yes, not that type of challenge. They don't want
I was getting to that point too.
They don't want anybody who's predictable all the time. You do the same thing all the time. You know what she's going to do. They never switch it up. It's just always the same. So they can, oh, I know she's going to cook. She cooks every Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. She cooks the same thing. Versus you have a woman like, okay, let's go out to eat. We're going to go pick our own lobster out of the thing and we're going to cook them ourselves. Something different. You have something different to look forward to instead of the same old boring stuff.
Well, I think that comes far as dating. Like, whether we get married or not, I think you should have date night at least once a week or twice a month. The same way I got you should continue as the same way that I'm going to keep you. So if we went out every weekend, then that's what we need to continue to do. We need to continue to go out because things, how it start off, as long as you can start, when you start the way with doing those things, then that relationship will never end. You'll keep doing those fun things, having those great times together, building those memories.
Well, my thing is so many people show up as their representative and they show you this thing, this person who they are not, and then they have a hard time keeping it up. So then when you're looking for it, it's like they're not doing it anymore because it's really not the type of thing that they do. Like if you're going to be genuine, so don't take me to all these 5-star restaurants in the first 3 months that we meet each other, knowing that your budget can't keep it up. And then now here we are over here at Denny's or something like that. No, okay, babe, we're going on a date. This Denny's is my favorite restaurant. Let's go here. Every now and then you can splurge and go somewhere else, but don't lay it on me thick because that's what I'm going to be expecting.
That's right.
All right.
Keep that same energy.
Keep that same energy that you give me. And then sometimes life can evolve. You evolve into different things. So maybe we don't need to do that anymore. We're both changing. So just kind of tap in with your partner to figure out, where they at because people change. And that may not be what I want. I may not want you to. We're trying to save for a house. I don't want you splurging money at some 5-star restaurant. Let's put that money in the bank. We can have a picnic in the living room. It's just things that you can do.
Absolutely.
Henry says, if you're challenging me, it has to be to make me better. Absolutely, Henry. I totally agree with you. You got to be honest. You got to get a partner where you're on the same page. It could be so amazing if you have a partner and y'all both on the same page and y'all both have your own goals that y'all working towards. And then y'all have goals for the relationship and y'all just grinding, y'all celebrating each other as y'all going through. And, you're not allowing anybody else to get in your ear and to pull you away from your partner. It's just that like right now, it's just so hard. I think with social media, before social media, maybe, yeah. But with social media, it's so much visual. It's so much going on with social media, and you just a click away from, maybe emotional cheating,
what you just said is the way that it should be. But we know as adults now and as in this society that it does not go that way at all. Because you got every girl on Instagram wants to be the next Instagram model. They're showing this, they're showing that. And like you said, it's more and very accessible to get to those things and, see all these pictures, and women become more into for the likes, of people, liking them than actually loving them. And I always say that you're never going to be open to anybody until you found the value in yourself. And I think a lot of women who's doing that, they don't find the value. They don't know what they have, and they don't know what they could have. Because if there's a good man that you're actually pushing away because of your independence and you're sabotaging the whole situation, that man could have been the key to unlock you going to the next level. but you were so caught up with you, with yourself, with your independence that you couldn't even let him take you there. You couldn't let him do what he needed to do. So don't say, I want a good man, or, why hasn't God sent me this? He probably unsent him, about 3 times already. You was just too blind, caught up with what you wanted and not what you needed.
Okay, I'm gonna ask God not to allow me to be blind when He's sending me my King. I need you to open my eyes so that I can see Him. I need it to be. It is right there. All right, so they say that women show all of their cards right up front. We tell a man everything. We spill the beans, stuff that they don't even know. We just so he pick up on those key things and he starts doing those things, trying to make you happy or just trying to get to the next level with you because you have told him everything.
Nope, I disagree. And I even asked some of my female friends, even for me, I said, do you think I should tell them about this or tell them? They say, no, that's too much too soon. And this is how they don't get to know you, because they know too much. They know too much about you. So some women may run off and tell them, tell everything, but I don't find that happening nowadays, especially in my dating pool. I don't know what the hell is going on, but that's what's going on. I don't find that. It's hard to get it's hard to get anything. It's hard to get a call back from a woman nowadays. The inconsistency is at an all-time high. Well, what are we doing here? Why are you even on this dating site if you ain't trying to call nobody or get to know a person? What's the use? You here for the likes.
Well, the next one is an independent woman is busy. This goes with what you're saying. She's busy doing her own thing. She's not waiting around on that man. She doing her own thing. I mean, you want a woman. You want a woman who has her own life, who's doing her own thing, and she's not going to be following you and expect to be doing everything that you're doing. You want a woman, who has her own circle of friends and she can do her own thing versus her like, oh, she's mad at you because here you are going out with your friends again and she doesn't have a life. I mean, you want somebody who's busy. I'm not saying busy to the point that where she don't have time for you, but you want her to have her own life.
Well, that goes because, when you two are saying, hey, we're committed, it's a lot come with a person who's, popular or who knows a lot of people. There's a lot that come with it. There's certain things that you're going to have to let go. That jealousy and the ego, like you're going to have to let that stuff go. Especially if I'm introducing you to new things, new people, that's taking you to a whole nother level.
It takes a special kind of woman to deal with somebody who's in that type of industry for you, not to be upset and that, oh, this is just his job, this is what he's doing. And you just you sit back and you let him do him because that's his job. You don't do it right. And then
some women aren't like that. But that goes back to say that know the person that you with. Sure, he may flirt, he may talk, but guess what? He's coming home with me, and I know ain't nothing going past this whole night. I could be in a party with my significant other, and people not even know that we together.
Oh no, that's not happening. If we together, we together. We're gonna come to the party matching. So everybody,
I miss those days. You should have told me you was wearing floral today. I would have matched you.
We together. And I think people do that because they want to leave themselves open for other people. That's why they do that. So, okay, just to wrap things up, I want to talk about 10 things that you're going to learn from an independent woman. An independent woman will inspire you. She does not believe in clinginess. She is help deprived because she's trying to do everything herself. She is a strong, significant other. She likes to travel by herself. She's going to Paris by herself. She don't want to go. She has few friends. She don't need a lot of people. She is not afraid to be alone. She thrives on her independence. She loves to love. She knows what she wants and who she wants. And she doesn't, if she chooses you, then you know that you are special. That you are. So if you have an independent woman, here we just commented out what he said.
Well, I must have been having found any independent woman because the woman that I talked to, That I hate going to Paris by myself. I wish he was here because I need to get my groove on over here in Paris. Like they want all these things. They want the man there, but yet and still they're doing things that's not allowing the man to come in so he can be there. You got to be open.
You got to
I
be
think I and women aren't being. They're not being open.
like you got to be open, but you got to be able to have things that you do so you're not always focused on that man. Women, sometimes when we get into a relationship, we lose ourselves and we get so focused on that man in that relationship to where we get lost. And next thing you know, that man out the door. We not even in a relationship, but we done gave ourselves. We gave everything. I want to read Henry's comment, and it's the last comment we're going to read before we go. Henry says, when you say committed, you need to find out committed to what. Exactly, Henry. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Rizal, you have any last thoughts about your independence is sabotaging your chances at finding love?
Ladies, I just wish that y'all be more open and be more honest with yourselves with what you guys want, because that time while you're being independent, that gives you time to think. That gives you time to think about one thing about it. It gives you time to think about, you know what you want, but it gives you time to think about what you don't want. So I just want you to take the time, think about what you don't want, and give some of these guys, he jump into your DM, let him jump in your DM. How is he going to get to know you? Everybody home. He don't have your phone number, or unless you know he's being hooked by your friend. Give these men a chance. Let them be men. Stop pushing them off, thinking that he's thirsty or whatever the case. Like I keep hearing that on a daily basis. He's thirsty. I'm not thirsty. Look, I got a whole ton of water behind me. If I'm thirsty, I'll drink one of these bottles. I'm not thirsty.
Okay. Great words of wisdom. So I'll leave you with this. It says, always be a first-rate version of yourself instead of a second-rate version of someone else. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Warriors Talk. Meet us here next week at 6 p.m. As always, this is Warriors Talk on Intellectual Radio, where we are changing lives one warrior at a time. Thank you, guys.
Good night, Warriors.
Of Warriors Talk with Lady Rochelle. To find out more about Warriors Talk, follow at Warriors Talk, the number 1, on all social media outlets, and Warriors Talk with Lady Rochelle